Hello, everybody. My name is Katy, and I have invited Kim Moose, the owner of CottonCuts, to have an interview with me today. And we will be doing this in small parts because I have loads of questions for her, and we cannot do this in one go around. So,
Sure.
Kim, if you don't mind, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Kim Moose. I own CottonCuts. CottonCuts started about 7 years ago. I had a full-time job and decided I wanted to try and do something different. And so I started this crazy little company, and it has been growing ever since. And we continue to ship more products and just lots and lots of fabric. It has far exceeded my expectations from when I started. We ship about 5,000 packages a month all around the world. About 20 people work for me, doing all the crazy projects and ideas that I come up with, and it's awesome and it's great. I guess in the about me, the not the, so I have two boys. Katy, you know this. I have Lincoln, who's 12, Dominic's 11. I've been married to my husband for 22 years as of last week, and yeah, that's how it goes.
Congratulations on your anniversary.
Thank you, thank you.
So, I would like to know how long you have been a quilter.
So I started sewing when I was 8. I came from a house of crafters, right? So my grandmother had her little treadle machine, and she would bounce the treadle as she sewed. My mom always had 3 or 4 sewing machines in our house. She had a serger in the house. So I started sewing when I was 8. I made my first quilt at 13. It was what we call now an economy block quilt, a block within a block, and it was black and white. And I gave it to my best friend in high school, and she loves it. My first quilt was actually a quillo, like those things that are they kind of came back for a little bit and have gone out. But the concept of a quilt that you then fold up into a pillow so you can take it to a sleepover or an event like that. Super proud of that quilt. I then made an ocean wave before I graduated high school, and then I put sewing and quilting on a shelf because I went to school and was working, and it's always something I've kind of done in my spare time. I am also a really big fan of quilt fabric shopping. So I am one of those people where whenever I go on vacation someplace, I'm always looking for the closest quilt shop and going and seeing what's new or what I might have missed.
When did someone in your life that help open the door to your love of sewing?
Um, I would say, my mom and my grandma, because those are the ones that really I grew up in a world where you would know how to sew. I would say I was very much one of those uncool kids in high school that made my own clothes. Yeah,
You
I
and
would.
me both.
Yeah, right. I mean, and I always loved like the silky shiny fabrics and the webbing and the netting, and like as where I am now, I'm like, oh my God, those fabrics are a nightmare to work with. I can't believe at 15, 16, and 17 I was using them to sew. But it's always just been like a part of me. I've always had a sewing machine. I love taking home ec in middle school because I aced it and I was like, this is all I have to do, like, and I'm gonna get an A. This is great. Right. And so I've always been a sewer. I would say, now when I sew for me, right? I sew when I want to challenge or when I want to do something new. I'm always teaching myself something new. So, like, I love EPP, and I did a ton of EPP for a period of time. Foundation paper piece. I think my next is I'm going to teach myself how to freezer paper piece, just so I don't have to tear all those papers off the back of the blocks. But I'm always learning something new. That's what I am motivated by. I wish and I aspire to be the quilters that can take a pattern and put all sorts of beautiful fabrics together and make these masterpieces. That's not me. Like, it has to be something new. It has to be something I've never done before. That's what excites me.
So you mentioned that you had a job before you started your business. What
Mhm.
was the catalyst that made you take that first big step of starting your small business?
I'm a biomedical engineer by education. I spent 20 years designing pharmaceuticals and medical devices, and I was on the leadership team at a pharmaceutical company here in St. Louis. And I hated it. I was bored. I wanted to do something new. I wanted to do something fun. I wanted to do something that would have an impact in my community and could actually make a difference. And so I did a little bit of research, and it really comes down to I was bored and I wanted to subscribe to a quilting box. And when I looked at everything that was out there, I couldn't find one I liked. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to create one. And so I was not on Facebook at all. I had no idea what Facebook is and was. That was something that was, younger than me. Instagram, I had no idea how to do anything on Instagram. I built a couple websites, but not in like 20 years. And so I took 6 months and literally just watched every YouTube video I could find, read every Reddit article I could find, built a website on how to even begin a subscription business. And 6 months after I had this idea, I launched a website, and 10 minutes later, we had our first member.
Wow, that
Yeah,
is really outstanding.
thank you.
What is it that you like about owning a small online prosperous quilt business like yours?
Oh, every day is different. So for me, I am constantly motivated by, what is happening today. And it's if this was a place where we did the same thing every day, I think I wouldn't enjoy it. I know my employees wouldn't enjoy it. So I am motivated by whatever today's challenges are. They come at us from all different directions. Plus, I am a big fan of adding challenges to my team of, hey guys, we're gonna do something new and crazy that we've never done before, and we're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna make mistakes, and that's okay, but we're going to keep doing really cool stuff that all of our members love and enjoy. And so I think I am motivated by the new. I am motivated by taking risks and seeing what happens. And I am motivated by just challenging everyone around me, challenging my employees, challenging our members, and just keeping things exciting and fun.
Did you have an original goal when you first decided to create your small business? And over time, how has it evolved?
Oh my gosh. So I'm an overachiever. I like to like set a goal and exceed it. And so I think, originally my goal, I didn't even really know where I wanted to go. And so I'm a huge opportunistic person. I believe religiously that always take the phone call, because you never know what's going to be on the other end of the line. And so, I started out as just a classic subscription box. It's our membership based. You tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, and we send you different fabric every month. And about a week after I started that, I got a call from a quilt shop in New Zealand that wanted to talk to me about bringing one of her projects to the United States. And so, had I had here's my vision, this is the company I'm launching, and I'm only going to stick with this one box, I wouldn't be here today. But I always take the phone call, and you just never know what different path you're going to go on. And you don't have to say yes, but always take the phone call. And because of that, I've acquired 3 companies. I have the partnership with New Zealand with Sheila Christensen. And, the company has gone in multiple different directions. And I think it's just, being open to new opportunities. I think several times people set a goal when they start something new, and if they don't achieve it, they're disappointed. And for me, it's always been, yeah, I have a goal, but as things evolve, as the situation changes, we modify, we adjust, and we keep going in a different direction. And I think that's something I had in my corporate job as well, is I was never a linear path person. Started out in research and development, then went to project management, then to purchasing, then to legal, and I bounced around. And because of that, I ended up in a different place than had I just gone from A to B to C to D. And I definitely do that in the business too. It's not a linear A to B to C to D. And my favorite sayings are when people tell me that can't be done, because I'm like, oh yes, it can be. Like I am a big, like, if someone tells me something can't be done or has never been done before, like I am motivated by that and I'm fueled by that. And, it takes it in a different direction every time.
Yeah, every time my kids would say when they were growing up, I can't do this, and I would say, can't never do. So that's
Yes,
just not acceptable. You have to
right.
try, not do, or you do not try,
Mhm.
because as long as
Well,
you're trying, that's what matters.
and my kids always say, right? So everything can be solved with time and money, right? So
Yeah,
nothing is impossible. It's just a matter of how much time and money do you want to put in it to solve it.
yeah.
Yeah,
You mentioned at the beginning about your having up to 20 employees right now.
yeah, yeah.
How many did on your first inception of your business when you first did the classic because you mentioned the classic boxes, your very first one? How many did you have then, and how hard was it for you to get all of it so that it was organized enough to get it out to people?
Right. So, okay. So, I mean, this is a classic like small business startup story, right? So when I started, it was just me. I had a full-time job. right? And I kept my full-time job for a long time. And so this is when we started our partnership with the Sheltered Workshop, because I knew I wouldn't have time to cut and fold fabric by myself. So I was looking for a creative resource to be able to help me that I wouldn't have to hire employees for. And sheltered workshops are places that hire disabled individuals who can't be employed in traditional scenarios to work in a situation where they can be provided adaptive equipment to be able to provide meaningful labor for companies like mine. And so in the early days, they cut and folded all my fat quarters. They folded all my boxes for me. I did all the packaging and kitting and putting all the labels on it, but the Sheltered Workshop was a huge partner for me. And they're still a huge part of our business. We still give them projects every now and then. But it's one of those, I didn't want to hire employees to begin with because I knew I wouldn't be able to be with them during the day. And so it was a creative solution to the problem that we were having. I would say it was a year and a half until I hired my first part-time employee. I used the workshop almost exclusively, and then of course my husband and kid hours that you never really capture anywhere, as you know, they would be helping me in their odd times. And then I just added part-time employees. And it was just, hey, I need some help doing this. Hey, I need some help on this. Hey, I need some help on that. And it started first with my neighbors and then kids of my friends. Those are like huge labor people who just want to come and do something for a couple hours and then go home back and do whatever they were doing. And, it got us pretty far. We're at the point now where we have several full-time employees that work for me. It's as we've grown, I've added more employees based upon what we need and what we want to do.
On the Sheltered Workshop, is that where your philanthropic tendencies started?
Oh my gosh. So we do tons of give back work. So the Sheltered Workshop was the first iteration of that. And they're really good at like repetitive projects that we can transport to them and either have them mail or have them return back to us. Through one of my acquisitions, I acquired an organization called Heart Builders. And so this was a group of people where CottonCuts provided them fabric. So we would provide people fabric that would then piece together quilt tops for us of a certain dimension. And then they would mail it to a group of volunteer long armors who would finish the quilt and then mail it back to us, and it was donated. Through that process, we donated over 450 quilts to children in need all around the world. It got to the point where shipping started to be make that very cost prohibitive, right? That is to mail fabric, then to mail quilt tops, and then mail finished quilts. And it just became something that we really had to challenge ourselves that, yes, we were doing good, but can we do good in other ways? And so that's when we started partnering with an organization called One Common Thread. This is an organization that provides labor to homeless women and children in Honduras via crafting and sewing projects. So they use the women and children to sew projects that we then import, and we were distributing through our members. They've been the recipient of a couple of our charity quilts, our raffle charity quilts. We've donated funds to their organization. I think CottonCuts has provided shelters, I think, for 3 or 4 families at this point, as well as beds and furniture. We're constantly evolving this, right? And so One Common Thread was great during the pandemic when there weren't a lot of organizations that we could support, and they came to us via one of my employees who found them. And so now we're looking at how do we mobilize the CottonCuts community in a philanthropic way. And so this is something that I have several employees that are very passionate about this, about making sure that we give back to our community. And so be on the lookout this summer for CottonCuts Cares. This is our newest initiative. And we're going to be sponsoring challenge projects for our members. I think the first one, and again, this is all still to be cooked out and it needs a lot more baking behind it. But I think we're going to ask our members to start making pillowcases and donating them to battered women's shelters and workshops in their local communities. We will have a list of places and resources you can reach out to. We will provide a pattern. We will also provide kits for those that might need a little bit of help getting started, right? Because we've got a lot of beginner quilters in the CottonCuts community. And so we're going to put together a challenge. Who can donate the most pillowcases? And it's coming. It needs some more focus and some more baking, but that's really kind of our next iteration. Is we're fortunate to have a really strong community of people that love us. And so how do we mobilize that community to do good like we want to do?
I think that is outstanding. I can't wait to see what you come up with, because I was wondering if, because I don't know how many of us there is, but I
Mhm.
was wondering if at some point that would come into play also, since you're
Mhm.
already into doing things to help others out. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the other thing I wanted to mention is, well, no, I'll mention it next time. Never mind. Um,
That's okay.
how have you been able to accomplish such an exceptional customer service?
Yeah. All right. So this is something, I mean, this is like from me from the very beginning, from very beginning day one, right? And so I have been a quilter for a while. And I knew when I started this that every quilter is different. You can be in a guild meeting sitting next to your best friend and she will love fabric that you hate. And I'm like, quilters are so individualized as a group. There is no one solution to fit all. And when I was looking at how we're going to be approaching customer service, like it's by the individual, right? We have to treat our members as individuals and recognizing that quilters are very forgiving people, very philanthropic people. Like, let's just make it right. If we made a mistake, let's make it right. If the male has made a mistake, let's try our best to solve the male problem, but let's make it right. And that's just, to me, it's easy, right? The PMQ, we die cut about 100,000 triangles and squares a month. That is a lot of
Mhm.
pieces. Our complaint rate is less than 1%. And then for that less than 1%, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll send you triangles. I'll send you squares. Like, it is no big deal. I will put the 40-cent stamp on the envelope and send you triangles and squares because it's less than 1% of the folks that we make an error on. And I'm like, this is an easy one to make right. This is not a problem. And it's making sure that the people that I have working for me that are in our member care department, we're super responsive. We're going to over communicate. We're going to make sure you know and that you're heard and that we're providing the best service possible. Just because it's easy to do, right? It's easy not to do it, but it is also easy to do it. And so for me, it's just making sure we're always focused on making it right and treating others as we want to be treated.
I love how y'all are so responsive to every little, even if it's something really small, you try to find a way to fix it. And
Mhm.
you have worked with us overseas people as well, because we run into problems, and the pandemic really put a hole in it.
Oh my gosh.
You know.
As you were saying that, I was remembering all the packages we lost in the pandemic, and I know you were in the
Oh,
heart of that because I think you had like 2 or 3 subscriptions a month, and for like 6 months they were all gone. And
yeah,
in that process, I think we lost about $75,000 of goods
I
in the
figured you
pipeline.
had.
Mhm. Yeah,
Uh,
it was just gone. And many of them arrived and many of them we replaced. I'm like, you just got to do it, right? Like, it hurts, it's unfortunate, but it's not fair for you either. You've paid us money to deliver a good, we should deliver it. And so we made it right for everybody. It was a kick in the shins, but it was the right thing to do, right? It's not fair to anyone involved and we just make it right.
I believe that you really take good ownership of all your customer service. I mean, no matter what is going on, because a lot of people talk about how outstanding y'all are. I mean, I rarely make a phone call, but when I do, I get an answer, or I'll get an answer of, we will see what we can do. I'll get Jessica on it, or I'll see what's
Yeah.
going on. Even if it's, I need a tracking number because it's been over a month since I've received anything. I don't panic about it not getting here. I just want to know where it's at. So if it's lost, you and I know about it. And that's what I love about you guys. You guys don't say, well, call us back in a month. You try to investigate what's going on. And I
Right.
think that's a really good thing about your company.
Mhm. Yeah, there are some
Um,
things like I feel bad when people's packages go missing, right? This has been happening. The postal service, like, I feel like there's a quilter at our branch that just skims packages off the top with the amount of people that aren't receiving. I feel bad telling folks, like, just wait 2 weeks, just be patient, just wait 2 weeks and see if it arrives. And sure enough, by 2 weeks, 97% of the packages have arrived. And I'm like, and I know that hurts because I'm an Amazon customer, right? I order today, I want it here tonight, I want it here tomorrow. And I'm like, 2 weeks seems like an eternity. And I'm like, I hate giving that answer, but I can't control the post office
no, you
either.
can't.
And I know as soon as I post that replacement clue, the original one's going to show up. And we just, that's not fair to us, but we have to do that, right? And it hurts me to say, please wait 2 weeks. But at the same time, like, we have enough experience to know it's going to arrive.
I do think that there's a big, huge issue with the Chicago international part of it. I think that's where most of our stuff has disappeared because
Mhm.
it's sat there for a while, and then it never comes over here. It never even gets on an airplane,
Yes, I know.
and gets wherever. So I think that that is a big problem in that area.
Well,
So,
so do you remember it was when we started So Sweet, the donut themed about a year and a half ago. It was
mhm,
February. And when Clue One shipped, like for 2 weeks leading up to the shipment, it snowed every day
mhm,
and schools were closed. And I had maybe 2 employees that could make it into the office every day. And it's a big deal. A Clue One shipment is a big deal for us.
yep,
And everyone was able to make it into the office the day we were labeling clues and putting them out for shipment. I was like, this is great. Everything's going out on time. Somehow, guys, we pulled together and did this like after 2 weeks of, we had a whole bunch of oops kits that someone took home on the weekend to fold, and she didn't get there until like a week later. Like we had
no,
so much just stuff going on. And that was the time when 2 giant bags of clues somehow went missing.
yeah,
I don't know if they fell off a mail truck. I don't know if someone took them home, right? Because as much trouble as we were having with weather, so was the post office. And I swear, I think it's just sitting in a corner in someone's mailroom. I literally myself went to both branches that service us, and I looked in like the ditch behind the post office, like, are these little clues like littered down here somewhere?
oh
I
no,
mean, it was crazy. It was unfortunate. We felt horrible. But again, Katie, we replaced it all, right?
yeah,
Like you just do it, right? It's unfortunate. We were as frustrated because of all the like extra work we put into that, all the TLC, surviving a week of just slippery roads, and are the kids at home and I can't come into work. Then we get it out on time and we're like so happy it gets out on time. And then the very next week we realize like 200 clues went missing and we have to replace them all.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
just crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's what, when you have this kind of customer service, you're going to keep your customer base a lot longer by treating us with kindness. And that's what, to me, this company has shown lots of kindness and lots of
Oh, thank
patience,
you.
and hasn't grumbled about, well, I sent it to you and I shouldn't have to do another one, because if you don't do it that way. Y'all just say, okay, we'll see what we can do. And then, you have the follow up with Jessica where she emails back and forth, and let somebody know this is what's happening. And once the case is finished, then she'll say, is there anything else I can help you with, before
Mhm.
she ends the case. And I
Yep.
think that's really good.
You. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Like when I started out from the very beginning, I was like, you guys, we have to have like a standard response. I am very annoyed when I receive a company email from someone that's like, does that take care of it? Bye. And I'm like, it's not that hard to be like, hello, Miss Joelsen. Thank you so much for reaching out. Like, thank you.
Yeah,
Like saying thank you. And I'm like, this is where like I am very strict. I was like, guys, we got to thank everyone. Like the very first thing we should say is thank you so much for reaching out, right? And then at the very end, thank you so much for your support, guys. Like without our members, we don't get to do what we do, right? So
yep,
thank everyone, right? Everyone has a choice to where they can go to get quilting supplies. Thank you so much for your support and have a great day. Like, how hard is it to say have a great day? Like,
that's
it's
right.
not hard at all, right? And so this is something that I did from the very beginning when it was just me, and every single person gets on board. I was like, you guys, this is how we communicate with our members, and it has to be this way, and here's why it has to be this way. And I know you want to just like shorthand be like, we'll get back to you by. That's not the way you treat people, right? There are standards, right? And receiving that type of email feels much better than the typical like Amazon, like, we'll get back to you tomorrow or call back in 24
They take a
hours.
month to get back to you.
Yes, I know. Yes, exactly.
So, since we're just talking about the business still, is there anything that you would like to see happen in the future with your company?
Oh my gosh, what does that mean? Like,
Well, I don't know. Do you want it to get bigger, or
yes.
do you want to keep it the
Yes.
way it is so that I mean, what is your vision of future possibilities?
Oh my gosh. So I have tons of quilting projects that I've been kind of simmering on and cooking that are going to start launching as we approach the end of this year. That are things nobody else in the industry is doing. things that are game changers, that leverage our core strengths in different ways, that I think are going to please and delight our members beyond anything they've seen before, because they love what we do. These are things that are kind of the natural next extensions that literally nobody else is doing. That's what motivates me, right? I don't want to have a shop where you land and it's like Amazon and you search for fabric and, you know, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of bolts. I want to do something different, and I want to do something that people go like, hey, that's really cool. I want to do that. That's what I'm excited about. And then by the end of this year, you're going to start to see CottonCuts Knits, which is our yarn division, which will be launching by the end of the year. And so you're going to start to see us expand and kind of leverage our core skills of our customer service, our differentiated product, doing things that have never been done before in a different way and highly customer focused fashion. You're going to start to see a lot more of that in our yarn business. And then I already have 3 more acquisitions lined up for what comes after yarn.
So on the yarn avenue, are you going to include just knitters, or are you going to include knitters and crocheters?
I crochet. So what do you think that
Yeah,
answer
me
is going to
too.
be?
I
Yeah.
don't know how to knit. But
So
I have seen that in some quilting companies where they only zero in on the knitters, and I don't know what it is about being a crocheter, but crocheters get kicked out on the curb a lot.
Well, okay, so here's the story. So I like I said, I like to learn new things. And so gosh, it was like 18 years ago or something like that. And I went to Michael's and I was like, hey, I would love to take a class to either knit or crochet, but I don't know the difference. And the woman tells me, so to knit, it's 2 needles, and to crochet, it's 1. And I was like, okay, I'll take the 1. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, I'll do the 1. And then like I learned to crochet, and like that's what I do. I have no idea how to knit. I don't have a desire to learn how to knit, but literally that was the decision, was I want to learn how to knit or crochet. What's the difference? Okay, I can do 1 hook.
Is there anything else you would like to say about the business part of what we've been talking about? Because this is
Oh
the
my gosh.
first part of the interview, and
Yeah.
because I don't want to move into the other one until the next segment. So, is there anything you want to add to this?
So thank you, Katy, for this opportunity. So I love you, Katy. You have been with us for a long time.
Yeah.
It's members like you that get our team out of bed every day and keep us, positively biased to doing the right thing, to doing the best we can. Right. We love our community. Without the community, this job would be horrible. And we love seeing the impact of what we do. And so we love our members. I appreciate everyone that gives us the opportunity to keep doing what we're doing. I think the sign that I've seen it up everywhere, like if you buy from a small business, someone does a happy dance, like my team does happy dances, right? When we make a customer happy, when we launch a product on time, when we exceed expectations, our team does a happy dance. And I want people to realize, like, we are a small business. We are not the big nameless, faceless corporation where you're a number. And our team is always positively motivated and impacted when good things happen with us.
The reason I've become your best fan is because of the way you treat all of us. You don't treat us as a number. You treat all of us as individuals. Even if it's just, it doesn't matter what it is. You answer our questions. You even answer personal, not personal questions like about you, but what I mean by that is this: I ask a question over on CottonCuts. If sometimes you answer them, a lot of times you do answer them. Jessica answers. Somebody is always there answering, and it doesn't sit for weeks where it falls through the cracks and never gets answered. Or if we email you and say, hey, I have a question, and I asked the question, you usually get back to me. I'm about to lose something too.
It's okay. Yeah. So I think for us, it's just we treat people the way we want to be treated, right? I mean, it's not hard. We're not bots. We're not AI. It's really a matter of just do unto others. And I think we live by that. And we want to solve people's problems in a positive way. And that's what really keeps us going, which is why when we see someone on social media, it's a Friday night, right? And we're scrolling through the feeds and we're like, I can handle this. Like, just answer the question, right? There's no need to just let it sit and have to wait until Monday, because if I had a question on social media, I would want an answer. And what we found is that by that responsiveness, by answering those questions the way we have, and by truly educating our members, members can then educate other members, right? So if it's not Jessica or I, like Ian is super fantastic
Yeah.
and resourceful about answering questions, right? I've seen you on there answering questions because our members are so well informed, they're able to help newer members along, and that makes our job easier.
Well, I became informed because y'all answer the questions. I mean, when I first started out with I started out with a classic box, but then I got involved with the PMQ, and the first couple of PMQs, I didn't have a clue what I was doing.
Right.
I mean, I didn't know you could buy backing for it or add to it if you wanted to, or you could ask for help when you got stuck, or that if you had a missing piece. I mean, you read the website, but sometimes it don't always
Oh my God, yeah.
stick in your brain. So you're like, and then when I really started asking questions, because everybody knows me, Kathy's the question asker. I ask ridiculous amounts of questions. I can't help it. It's my nature. But when I started asking questions and I started learning from you guys and from other people who had been there a little bit longer, newbies like me had a chance. And I
Mhm.
think that's what makes or breaks uh, new newbies in this industry, because if you get help, you'll stay. But if you don't get help and you get frustrated, you put it down and say, I don't want to do this.
Oh my God. I know nothing makes me happier than seeing a finished quilt top. Like that's as good as it gets, right? I want you to finish the projects. I want you to use the fabrics we're sending you. Like I want you to use the thread, right? We want you to use that stuff genuinely, and we will help you use it as much as we can.
That's just it's
Yeah,
wonderful. So
thank you.
I appreciate you coming for the first
Yes.
segment. And
Uh-huh.
so this is where we'll end it, as at the end of talking about the business itself. So stay tuned for the next segment. We're going to talk a lot more about her subscription, Kim's subscription boxes, along with the puzzle mystery thing, and we'll go from there, and we'll see how much of that we can talk about, and then we'll probably have to do another segment. So this is going to stretch
Yeah,
out over time because Kim's a very busy lady.
that's
Thank you
okay.
for letting me do this. I am just so happy that you said yes.
My pleasure, Katie. My pleasure.
Okay, so how do I hang on a second? I'm still learning this program, so yeah.
It's okay.
So pause or stop.